What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down some big earnings that just came out, what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March. So as far as NIO goes, we're very flat for the day. We saw this thing just trading sideways. It's a bit green in the after hours with the market. And let's hope that the market tries to get a push after what we just saw. So I'll talk about some very, very key levels and what went down with all these new earnings. So what happened? Let's first start off with this. Looking at NIO, I didn't see too much significant news, but for now, we're seeing a little bit of a shift here. We're still seeing Goldman Sachs giving NIO a sell rating, and the price-price ratio remains a little bit low for the company. But we had a lot of big tech earnings at Jerome Powell that dictated the way the market was moving. So to start things off, with Jerome Powell, he gave his speech. The Fed has kept rates the same, not really making a change, and he didn't really say anything too significant or too new. He went down the path of the fact that the Fed just has to wait and see what the data tells us. They don't want to cut rates too fast or be too stringent on policy. They're going to be very patient with the way things are going. They want to see inflation consistently go down, give them an indication that they should cut more. But if they don't get that, they're going to continue to just remain very, very careful. So that's what Jerome Powell has been saying, at least thus far. And that's what's caused the market to kind of move the way it did. We saw some sideways price action, at least in the beginning. But as time went on, we had another big catalyst, which was big tech earnings. We had Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, and IBM all announce earnings. Starting off with IBM, this was like the one that wasn't as significant as the others. We had an EPS of $3.92 above expectations, revenue at $17.55 billion, all above expectations, which was not bad whatsoever. We also saw some nice guidance, which is why the share price is up. Meta had good earnings. They also saw a beat with the Q4 expectations. They're also up annually by 50% to about 8.02 or $8.02. That's above what the consensus happened to be. They also beat on their revenue, so good job with their EPS and revenue. Their outlook for the first quarter came in a little soft at about $39.5 to $41.8 billion, up 12% for 2024. Not bad, though. The share price is still up as a result of that. What was a little bit better was the full year guidance at 117 billion. So that's some good news. And they're expected to continue to spend more on developing AI as they were normally doing. They also mentioned that, despite what was happening with DeepSeek and the R1, they're going to continue to do what's necessary for them to continue to grow. So that's something that's worth mentioning, the fact that it could kind of reshape the AI landscape. But if anything, they believe it's still very important, and they believe in the value of their AI technology, and they're going to continue to once again develop these things. So we're not really too worried about this, and they are still once again pledged to spend billions in 2025 to continue to develop AI. So it's not really facing them much, and they believe there's going to be a lot of innovation to come nonetheless. Microsoft had good earnings, but they did fall on their cloud computing growth, coming a little bit short. They beat on EPS at $3.23. Then the revenue was at $69.63 billion. That was above expectations. That's why the share price liked it. But then their cloud computing growth came a little short, so that's why the share price failed from there. That's why it's a little bit in the red. Now, the last thing is Tesla. Tesla had an insane earnings report, although their earnings were not as strong. So for Q4 of 2024, we saw their revenue at $25.7 billion. That's a little bit less than what we were expecting at $27 billion. And then their EPS was also at 73 cents. That was below the expectations of 76 cents. Tesla came down a bit, but then it made a big comeback because we saw some very, very bullish news. The bullish news was focused around AI. So first off, Tesla showed some good signs of growth. And Elon Musk was saying that Tesla has a very, very nice, realistic path to once again becoming the most valuable company on the planet. He went on about FSD and how they're going to be launching an unsupervised version of FSD in Austin. So they're going to be testing it out over there. And then it's also going to be in different parts of California. And then as time goes on, right, they went on about how especially by the end of this year, if not by early next year, we're going to be looking for a big expansion in their FSD that's unsupervised throughout the entire US. And they're getting very close to autonomy. Elon Musk is saying that there's going to be exponential growth that's going to generate billions, if not trillions, in revenue. They also mentioned that there's going to be a $10 trillion industry for the Optimus robots that they are developing. And they also talked about how that's going to be huge for them as well. There's a lot of progress being made for that. So Energy storage is growing. They were very, very optimistic about Tesla's future. They mentioned that 2025 is going to be a pivotal year for Tesla to try to develop their technologies and kind of build in the right things that are necessary for them to really grow. And it's going to be insane growth in 2026 and 2027. And 2028 is going to be absolutely insane as well. So it was very bullish for the long term, but for the short term, earnings were not the strongest for Tesla. What do I think this means for the markets? The market may attempt to bounce because of this, because we had three of the tech stocks in the green and only one in the red. So, excuse me, I'm hoping that NIO, of all things, has this like inverse head and shoulders. If we break past 4.3, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 4.4. If we lose 4.15, we're looking for a dip. This is favoring upside for the 4.3s. This will give this the time it needs. For other factors out there, we have SPY. Okay, SPY is doing quite well, making higher highs and higher lows. I want to see it hold 599. As long as we could try to continue to hold this, we may continue this uptrend for an attempt to get back up to 605. We have this gap to fill at 607. So as long as 599 holds, I think we could continue to try to push higher. The majority of news was more bullish. Looking at the NASDAQ, we're very flat right now. I would like to see this try to get back up at 523. If that breaks, we could attempt to fill this gap. If we end up losing 518, though, look for 515 as the main support. I'm hoping we get that bounce at least for tomorrow. For the Russell, we're looking a bit more bullish, looking for an attempt to get back up to 228, so it's still doing a good job. For ES, we need to hold 60.64. As long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt for the 6100s. And eventually the gap will for 61.25, so keep that in mind. For NQ, we're on a bit of an uptrend here. We need to try to hold above the 21,400 area. As long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 21,600. Eventually, this gap fill area up here, so I see potential in this to try to continue to uptrend. Still looking pretty good. Bitcoin's on a bit of an uptrend. As long as we don't end up losing 102,900, we could kind of dip here and try to bounce because of the earnings. Nvda is looking pretty promising. I need to see this base at a higher low. I want to see this thing hold above the support right here between 117 and 120. As long as this holds, we could be looking for a rebound back up towards like the 130s. I think there's a lot of potential in this. The AI news was quite decent, and I think that Nvidia's drop after the DeepSeek news was a little bit exaggerated. So I think as long as we could try to hold this support, if we can make a higher low here, this could try to rebound for the 130s. So I'd like to see us try to reclaim like 132, previous resistance becoming support, or previous support becoming resistance, excuse me. But it depends. Can we hold this low? Can we make a higher low here and bounce? I'll be watching that very, very closely. For Tesla, looking bullish. We're going to be testing. We're going to be testing this yellow trend line of resistance. If Tesla could break this, we could be pushing for 420. If we end up losing 401, we could be dipping. But I'm hoping we get some kind of bounce here, so I see potential in it. For Aapl has a possible inverse head and shoulders, so I see a bullish case here. If we were to lose 232, we dip back down with the inverse head and shoulders. I'm hoping we try to push up to about 242, then eventually 246 as potential targets. For AMD, a little bit bullish looking on the 4-hour as we're seeing Nvidia trying to base. I want to see this thing try to break 117.8 to push for 119, so we'll see about that. Coin has a gap to fill, might be going for that 300 targets very soon. Looking at Amazn, we're in the middle here. I would like to see this hold above 235, and I think we could still be range bound between 235 and 240 for some time. But eventually, we should try to push into the 240s. Meta is looking bullish. We're up about 1.7%. We'll have to see if we could hold above these key levels, especially above 680. But overall, a little bit more bullish. Could be trying to go up to about 600. Unfortunately, Microsoft is down about 5%, so that's kind of offsetting the move to the upside by Meta and Microsoft, but by Meta and Tesla, excuse me. So I want to see if we can try to base here. I think that we have a very strong support at this 412 area. There's also support right here around this 418 zone, so I want to see us hold this range. If this holds, we could be looking for a rebound. Google also came up a little bit. I want to see if we could hold above 198 to push for this gap fill. So a little bit mixed. Overall, Microsoft is a little bit lower, but I'm hoping that the market tries to base and eventually tries to push higher. We have some gaps to fill, so hopefully we end up seeing the levels hold. So I'm still looking more optimistic towards this. Let's see if Tesla can try to break this yellow trend line tomorrow and start pushing for the 420s. We're looking pretty good so far. For NIO, the market may try to drag this up if we break past 4.27, which could push us up towards the 4.4s again. So keep that in mind, guys. Anyways, that's it for my video. I want to make this one nice, short, sweet, and simple. Have a good day, guys. There's upside potential in the markets, and I'm going to be looking to see how big tech guides us. But with that being said, thank you for listening. Just know that for tomorrow, there's not really much coming out. We have some GDP numbers coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is actually one of the biggest pieces of data. Then we'll see what kind of reaction we get. So be patient, guys. We'll see what this leads to. And overall, I'm hoping the market tries to push a bit. Well, have a good day, guys, and peace out.